It is time for the Herpreneur Networks. Oh, she's not live yet.
Yeah.
Her Talks is live and kicking. This is Master Coach Dr. Angela House, and I am here from the Herpreneur Network, and we're on Her Talks 2024. Tonight, I have the grace and amazing guest tonight of Coach Lakeisha Pope. She is a mental health coach. She is a herpreneur, ambassador with the Herpreneur Network, and she is up and coming. She's been in this network for a while, so we're going to talk about what she does, who she is, and I welcome everybody here tonight. Before we get started, Keisha, let's talk about you, Coach Keisha, Lakeisha Pope.
Hi. Hi. Thank you for having me, Coach Angie. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. Thank you for being my guest tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about Keisha Pope.
Yes.
And her name is Lakeisha, but we all call her Keisha affectionately in the sisterhood of the Herpreneur Network. And she is the owner of Royalty Counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So Keisha is a mental health and mental awareness coach.
Yes.
So let's talk about how you got into this, what started your journey.
Yes. So, what started my journey was literally me watching my little brother when he played football. My mom would have us go to his football games every Saturday. That was just a family thing. But what kickstarted for me is when he broke his arm. To see him as a player and also as my brother, once he injured his arm, mentally he checked out. He felt like he just couldn't be a football player anymore. It affected his school, it affected his self-esteem, and just the love that I have for my brother. I didn't want to see him like that. So that kickstarted for me to understand the professional when athletes injure themselves, and not only once they injure themselves but when they retire. So I just fell in love with talking to him, talking to other people when they have life situations, unforeseen situations that happen to them. And like I said, I just fell in love with just talking to people, and went out to college to the great Bethune-Cookman University in Daytona Beach, Florida. Received my undergrad degree there and my master's degree in counseling
Awesome.
psychology. Yes.
Good. So now that you've gotten into mental health because you enjoyed it and it's your brother, I'm sure that it takes on a different awareness when it
Mm-hmm.
becomes your client,
Yes.
because now you're not going to have that love for your client, and maybe you do, but not the same as you do for someone
Absolutely.
that is your brother.
Right.
That was a relative and you wanted to see him succeed and you didn't want him to get depressed.
Right.
But let's talk about you and your clients. What is your specialty? Do you have like a niche? Do you, is it children? Is it young adults? Is it older adults? It could be across the board. Tell
Mhm.
me about what it is that you do.
So my niche is with young adults and professional adults, older adults. And so I love and focus on ACEs, which is adverse childhood experience. So that's where I get the young adults from, population from. So ACEs is adverse childhood experiences. And a lot of people do not recognize the effects that their childhood has on them in the areas of neglect, abuse, of drugs, any type of incarceration that they may have experienced. Those situations affect the trajectory of a person because it affects them in anxiety, it affects them with depression, it affects them in the security that they have at home. And so that is my niche when it comes to ACEs. In addition to talking about anxiety, depression, just day to day life transition that may happen. Like I mentioned with ACEs, just not having that security, being concerned if you have food at home is a big thing, especially here in Florida with our younger kids, not having the food supplies that they need. So that's the area that I love to focus on when it comes to therapy, because if your home is not secure and you're afraid to go home because of abuse or being neglected, that's going to affect so many areas, other areas of your life. So that's why I love I love about mental health, because it's a wider range of areas that affects one person, and I try definitely to be holistic when I work with my clients.
Awesome, awesome. So one of the things is I know is that as a mental health therapist, and you probably could work with a office, with a mental health doctor or in a facility or something.
Mhm.
So tell me what led you down the path and gave you the birth of your own organization, your own business, Royalty Consulting.
What gave me the drive to be independent is that just being independent, being able to not have to work at a specific school, but I can work across the board and just have that flexibility that I personally love to do, and just travel. I want to be that traveling therapist. So regardless wherever my client is, I will meet them there, or we can do virtually. So flexibility for me was the biggest thing that I love to do so much.
I like that. So it's kind of like the traveling nurse.
Mhm.
You go to your clients, you spend time with your client. Okay, okay.
Absolutely.
That's a good concept. Very good concept. So now you graduated. I know that you're married.
Yes.
Um, how do you balance your? And I know you have a full time job.
Mhm.
So talk to me from a mental health perspective on balance. A lot of people we have problems with balance. We either focus on the
Yes.
wrong thing, something gets neglected. Sometimes it's the home, so and it can be different things. Sometimes you don't keep the home as clean as it needs to be because
Mhm.
you're always on the go. Sometimes you're neglecting your children. Not that you're
Right.
trying to, but you don't put as much time in with them.
Right.
And we especially neglect our spouses because we think they're going to just understand everything.
Yeah.
So just sit back and talk about how you personally balance, but tell us how in different scenarios, such as the ones that I have named, that you can balance.
Great question. So with balancing, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm still trying to figure it out. Lord God. But the main thing I would definitely say that has helped me sustain thus far is I make sure I pray about everything that I want to do. I want to definitely ask God to lead me, because I have found myself paying attention to things that just really don't even matter, or that I can put off to a later time or a later day. So definitely praying about, asking God to lead the decisions that I make. When it comes to my husband, the fact that when he does have an understanding in psychology. He also went to Cookman and studied in psychology as well. So he has that understanding, but communicating, like, we're working real hard on the communication aspect. So telling him the things that I need, and he's also telling me the same thing that he needs, and prioritizing our time together, making
Okay.
sure that we put ourselves, not only individually but collectively, as a priority. So if that means date nights, it could be simple as sitting at home. Like, our biggest thing is eating breakfast for dinner. Like, we love that. We do that. We're like, we're having fun, right? And watching a movie, something as simple as that. So just prioritizing the things that matter the most. And like I mentioned, just praying about it first, balancing work, because be honest with you, I have two jobs. Like, yeah, I have I have two. So mental health, I do, and then I also am a coordinator for a company as well. So balancing that, it can be challenging, but ultimately just praying about what is priority, and then putting those things in place, and then making sure that I have self-care. So self-care for me is ensuring that I take an extra 10 minutes to read my devotion, or I take the long route to come home and just relax in the car and listen to my favorite music. So those are some things that I do that are relaxing for me. So making sure that I do those things to balance it all.
Good. And someone just came in and said that was some good godly advice, Miss Buchanan.
Thank you.
Popped in to say that. And so if you have any comments, feel free to say them so we can make sure that we acknowledge you with in the show while we're doing this. But Keisha, we're talking about balance. So you tell us some of the things that you do. What steps would you give to someone like even me, if you
Mhm,
were going to give me advice? So I have a full-time job. I
mhm.
have two businesses that are one off the ground, one quasi off the ground, and another one in the works.
Woo, you busy.
Right. So I'm busy.
Yeah.
And my problem is I'm kind of a workaholic. So, you
Mhm,
know, you're gonna call me at 8 o'clock at night and somebody's gonna say, I'm not available. Not because I'm out and having a good time.
mhm,
Sometimes I try to put my classes together. So I
mhm,
use nighttime to do quiet work, as I like to say, where I'm not interrupted by conference calls, let's say from my day job.
mhm,
So I think that I balance well because my cutoff is Saturdays and Sundays.
mm.
It's like when we talk about, well, we're going to do this. I'm not going to be there. Saturday's my Sunday. I'm definitely not doing something on Sunday. I make one exception the third Sunday of the month in the evenings. No exception that I make on a Sunday, period. Uh, I will try to be a little flexible on a Saturday, but overall, what advice would you give to someone about balance? Because not balancing is it's got to have a mental effect. We
Yes,
find ourselves. I know with me, I can go to the point where my body says, "Okay, since you don't have sense enough to slow down, I'm going to slow you down."
I'm gonna
And
go and
that's
slow you down.
Saturday that I'm going to sleep all day, and then I'm upset with myself because I got nothing done.
Mm, mm. Definitely a great question. So there is no cookie cutter answer to that. But I love the fact, like you said, on Saturdays and Sundays, you carve that time out for you. That's balance. The fact that you can say no, that's balance. The fact that you are able to identify what things are important, that's balance. So it's never a cookie cutter, or if you do this, this, and this is what balance can will be considered, because everybody life is different. So like for me, I may not take off Saturdays and Sundays, but I know every third Saturday or every third Wednesday or whatever the case may be, I'm going to take time for me and whatever makes me happy. So, and it also gives me that reward system, because I
Mhm.
know from the date from I would say from Monday to Thursday, I'm working hard. And then
Yeah.
come Friday, I'm not doing anything. So it's just the language. I believe if we change the language of what we say, then we're less likely to hold ourselves captive to, well, I'm not being balanced. But you are. And everybody's different. Everybody's level of what they find fun or what they find balancing is different. So it's what works best for you is the main thing.
All right, all
Mhm.
right, all right. I got a compliment on my hair from
Yeah.
Wendy. Wendy says, "Love you to Dr. Lakeisha." She's loving you.
Hey, Whitney.
Thank you, Wendy. So that was good advice because you said two things: making time for yourself,
Mhm.
and for me, no is a complete sentence.
Yes,
And I
absolutely.
think a lot of us don't realize that because
Yeah,
sometimes people will come to you and say, "Can you do this for me?" And you want to say no, but then you don't want to let them down, and
yeah,
you commit yourself and you overstretch. But there's nothing wrong with
absolutely,
saying no. So to me,
absolutely.
no is a complete sentence. So
It's
we're
a,
going to switch gears for just a little bit.
okay.
So I'm going to tell everybody, here you are. Thank you for being with us tonight. This is the Herpreneur Network, Her Talks 2024. I am with my very special guest, Coach Lakeisha Pope of Royalty Consulting. She is a mental health coach and advocate. We've had some great conversations so far. Um, so if you're interested in being on the show, just hit that email address that you see at the bottom, a house at the herpreneurnetwork.com, so that we can get you scheduled to be on the show. Any comments that you would like to have, if you're here, we're welcome for the feedback. We love everybody that's out there. And right now, we're going to talk about the Herpreneur Network. So,
Mhm.
Keisha, you have been with the network, I think, a little over a year now.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me the impact that the network has had for you.
Woo. I'm not gonna cry. I promise you, I'm not gonna cry. I promise you. This network has blessed my whole life. And not only would I love that it blessed my life, but the generations after me. to come will be blessed because of the network. And what I mean by that is, one, the sisterhood, it teaches you how to deal with and be with and work with other females. Most organizations that I have heard, not necessarily seen or been a part of, I receive negative feedback for whatever reason. So every organization definitely will be different, but this organization, the love, the support is there, and it's genuine. But the main thing for me is this organization has taught me how to pray better. It has taught me to make sure in the weapon room, we have the weapon room 7 days a week. I may not be there 7 days a week, but it's 7 days a week.
Mhm.
So being at the weapon room every morning, how to pray, how to seek God, how to put God first was what I learned firsthand. And then putting my business to God, having a scripture for my business is what I learned in the network. The opportunities that we have of traveling. So I get to see and meet new people. Networking is major. I never really been a part of an organization that pushes that much networking. Like, you cannot do this alone. Collaboration is key. And that is so true. Collaborating, because God has God wants relationships, not only just the relationship that we have with him, but relationships with other people. And the other aspect that I love so much is the book club. I'm a bookworm. I love to read. And so when Dr. Nikki said that she was going to have her book club, I'm just like, yes, that's another thing that kept me in the network,
Yeah.
because it gives me an opportunity to grow, and I can see where I started a year ago, and it's been a year. Like, literally this month would be a year.
Yeah.
Literally a year. So I have seen my growth, not only individually in my marriage, in my business, and also at my job. So I'm a certified public speaker.
Yes, you are.
Like what? I have my first ebook, my actual first book I created. Yes, Refresh and Trauma Free. I have my business, and it's the sky is not even the limit. It's beyond the sky that I can do with God. And I am so excited. I am so proud and honored to be a part of this sisterhood. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So, for those of you in the audience that are not familiar, this is Her Talks 2024. It is sponsored by the Herpreneur Network. If you're not familiar, this is a network of Christian women in business and in ministry. This is where we like to say that business and ministry collide.
Yeah.
So, there's ministry in the marketplace, there is business with Christian women, a plethora of things that we have to offer. We have all types of coaches. There are life coaches. We have life coaches, grief coaches, business coaching. The
Mm-hmm.
Nick the network was founded by Dr. Nikki Ziegler, who is the master visibility coach. She
Mm-hmm.
is the branding guru. As a matter of fact, she's coming from the Super Bowl now. She also has the HBCU magazine. So she's been in Vegas, where her and our president of this network, Dr. Josephine Harris, have been out there. They have been representing the HBCU magazine as well as the Herpreneur Network while they were in Las Vegas. And so the networking opportunities are immense.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when Lakeisha talks about prayer, every morning at 5:30 a.m. Central Time, there is the weapon room. And in that weapon room, there is a plethora of women. It's not just ministers, it's people that come in to get some godly advice, to have prayer, to get the word so that they can move forward in their day. So, God is the foundation of this network. Dr. Nikki is our visionary, and she founded the network, but she did that based on her vision for this network. So, while I have your attention about this network, If you would like to join this network, please feel free to reach out to the Herpreneur Network. We have a Facebook page that says the Herpreneur Network. You can put in there that you're interested in information. We can get that information to you. But we have some amazing events. In May, we are having the Her Experience. It will be our second one. It is going to be in Houston, Texas. It is a business expo for Christian women in business. Right now, we are looking for speakers.
Mhm.
We are looking for vendors. So if you are interested, reach out to the Herpreneur Network so that you can be a part of this amazing opportunity. Everyone that is familiar with this network knows that every year we have a retreat. We usually go and lay out on the beach, have some good time, get the word, have some workshops, and we do it down in Destin, Florida. Except for this year, God has said increase the level of where you want to go, and we're going on a cruise. So if you are interested in joining this network, go to https theherpreneurnetwork.com/join her so that you can be a part of this amazing network. So this year, the Strong Her retreat is going to be on a cruise. We are going to the Bahamas and to the Grand Turks. We are going to have a ball. It is going to be amazing. So we still get to have the word fed to us. We're still going to have our workshops, but we're going to deport when we deboard. We're going to get on those ports and we're going to go on excursions. It
Yeah.
is going to be fabulous.
So excited.
5 days, 4 nights. It's going to be amazing. So if you're interested, we can get that information to you. But the creme de la creme for me, and I usually say that it's the Strong Her, but the next trip, we're already preparing for the Her Expo for 2025. For
Mhm.
me, it's a bucket list trip because we are taking the Her experience to Dubai. Yes, yes, yes. Everybody's all excited. So we are actually looking for speakers and we're looking for vendors in Dubai if you're interested in going. When you get connected with this network, there are so many amazing opportunities. We speak, you get the visibility that you need from a ministry perspective. Your platform is out there. It's just amazing the things that you can do. And the one thing for me, more than anything else, is the sisterhood. So when this network was started, I was approached about becoming a member, and my first instinct was no. You get that many women together, there's going to be some cattiness, and I'm not there.
Yes.
That's just something I try not to involve in. The reason I came into this network was not because I thought I was going to stay, but because I was supporting my friend in her effort to get this network off the ground. I figured a year I was going to be out. Right now, you're going to have to drag me by my feet because it is so different from any of the other networks that I've been a part of. Not only is it Christian based, which gives you that strong foundation,
Right.
it is a sisterhood. I mean, truly a sisterhood. You know,
Yes.
we like to say we fix each other crowns. Collaboration is a must. A must.
Yes.
We all supportive of each other. You have an
Absolutely.
event, we're there. If we
Absolutely.
can't attend, we're there virtually. So
Mhm.
I just want everybody to understand that when we talk about her talks, this is an offshoot of that vision that we have. And right now it is expanding, the network is growing. So, again, if you're interested, please let us know and we
Mhm.
can get back to you. So, that was my shameless pitch for the Herpreneur Network. But
Great.
we just do some amazing things. I mean, we do the Her Awards, and someone didn't understand what that was. It's our version of the Grammys, um, the Oscars, all roll in one. But what we do is we honor the women that are grassroots, the women that are on the ground, the people that you never hear about that do so much for their communities.
Mhm.
So these are the type of things that we do. We're philanthropic. We help people. Um, it's just amazing everything that happens in this network. So I'm finished with my shameless pitch on the network, and I'm going back to my special guest now, Keisha Pope. Uh,
Awesome
I
job.
I have to say that I've had the privilege of watching you grow because one of the things we do in the network is we assign accountability partners. Keisha came in knowing very little about how to put her business together. So we meet once a week, except with Keisha, you don't meet once a week. You meet once a week, and Keisha's going to ping you 12 times a day, asking a question. And I love it. And that it became a joke. It became a rolling joke. But she was hungry to
Yes.
understand what she needed to do and where she needed to go. And it's been everybody's delight and pleasure to see her get where she is now. So tell us about your ebook.
So my ebook is Refresh and Trauma Free. So my love for therapy just spilled into this ebook. And as I mentioned earlier, I talk about ACEs, the adverse childhood experience. So I have a quiz because most people don't know the questions that are a part of the ACEs. And it's just an educational tool so you can utilize once you decide to go to therapy. So in the front of the book, it has the ACEs. It has affirmations, daily affirmations you can utilize. It's a journal, it's a workbook, it's a tracker. Because not only do we worry, so many people worry about their physical health, but they don't think about their mental health. So we in the workbook, it's a tracker that you can have. It also has the daily affirmations. And the one thing that I definitely love so much about it is the Bible scriptures that are in it. On pretty much every page of the book, I have a Bible scripture in
Great.
it. So, one of the, I can show you a page, and it is vision, your vision that you, oh, it's blurry. I'm
Yeah, it is
sorry.
one. All
Okay.
right. So just tell us.
So it's the value and vision, and it talks about your vision for your physical health, your spiritual health, your mental health, professional and financial health, right? Health that you will like. But it also has the scripture from Habakkuk 2 and 2 and 3. It says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that you may run with it. So literally every page has a Bible scripture that correlates with the page on it. I have
Awesome.
another page that talks about cognitive distortions. And so, for those who may not know what cognitive distortions are, is when we overgeneralize our thought process or we only use mental filters when we have a situation, or we blame other people, or we can personalize. Some people personalize if they have a problem, like, for example, in your marriage you will personalize and say, oh, it's all my fault that my husband or my wife is cheating, right? And so most people don't recognize that they have those mental filters. And so I teach in the book of how to process and identify your particular mental filter. But I also combat it with an answer of a Bible verse that says, for a man thinketh, so is he. So
Absolutely.
it teaches you the problem. It shows you the problem, but it also has the solution. And so when I work with kids, that's where the ideal sparked from one of my kids in particular, that he was so adamant of talking about the problem, talking about the diagnosis. And when I work with him in our weekly sessions to get him through the problem, he never wanted to figure out the answer. And so, in all things, my belief is that God is the answer to everything that you go through. And so that's why I collided with having the Bible scripture for every page on the book. Even with the health tracker, it talks about the routines, the different routines that you have is the pattern that you have of your life is how you live your life daily. So I'm so excited about this book, and I can give all the credit to God to give me all these ideas of how to create this book. So yeah, that's my book,
Awesome.
Refreshing
And
Trauma.
how can someone get your book? Tell them how to get your book.
So they can visit Amazon. It's on Amazon for $21.99 right now.
Okay. And the name of the book is
Refresh and Trauma Free
by Lakeisha Pope.
by Lakeisha Pope. Me.
All right. All right. Is there any other way that they can get the book?
They can also get it on PayHip, on my
Mhm.
PayHip store. And they can also visit my website is royaltycounselingllc.com.
Awesome. 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 So now we're going to do some fun things. Tell us
Ooh.
about you, what you like to do. What makes
Ooh.
Lakeisha tick? if your husband said to you, "I'm going to take you to your favorite destination," what would that be?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm a person who loves to learn. So I like to go places like a museum, or I like to go places like, even like, how funny, like a beach, because I like to sit and watch people and examine how they operate and how people think. So anything that helps me to continue to observe and learn other people's behaviors and get to learn my history, I'm for it. Let's go. I'm like, let's get in the car and just go. Like that's my type of thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what does Lakeisha do to relax?
What do I do to relax? Hmm. I
So
like to
we talked about mental health. We talked about you got to
yes.
take some time for yourself. There's
Yeah.
times when you've got to decompress, which means you're not being a mental health coach. What is it that Keisha does to relax and unwind?
Honestly, I like to make candles. I love it.
Wow, I
It's
never knew that.
yeah. I like to make candles to understand the different scents of how the candles work, to be creative. Any area for me, I know what it sounds weird, but anything that helps me to be creative, I'm relaxed. Even though that's still my logical side of my brain working, but for me it's relaxing. Or I haven't done it in a while, but eating cold mashed potatoes, as Dr. Nikki call it, is my favorite thing. Give me a great bowl of like cold mashed potatoes. I'm just like, yes, I love it.
Yeah,
Any flavor besides chocolate.
any flavor.
Yes,
I'm
besides
picking.
chocolate.
I'm thinking about my flavors. And that's the inside joke for you that don't know. We have something that we indulge in that we're all supposed to be losing weight, so we don't call it what it is. We just say it's cold mashed potatoes, and I'm
Cold
going to
mashed
leave that to your imagination to figure out what it is.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I haven't had any for a while. You're going to
For a
make me eat
while,
one
right?
tonight. Yeah.
For yes, so anything like that, just and spending time with family, that's relaxing for me. Spending time with my nephews, having fun with them, because they're babies. They're 1 and 7, no, 16 months.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, so they're babies, just playing around with kids. I love kids. I love to be in their atmosphere. They just take life for what it is, and they just like to have fun. So just relaxing is my thing that I love to do.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good. So again, you are watching Her Talks 2024 for the Herpreneur Network. We hope you are enjoying this show. We have a very special guest today who is Coach Lakeisha Pope from Royalty Consulting, who is a mental health coach. So my next question to you is going to be, what advice, well, it's twofold.
Okay.
One, a person that starts to recognize signs within themselves, what would you say to them, and what type of signs should people be aware of?
When it comes to particular signs of like
Any-
depression,
Anything that's affecting your mental health.
mm, first I would say the signs that they may notice, anything that triggers them, anything that makes them easily irritated. If they notice those things, definitely consult with a trusted individual that they can kind of process how they feel. If they don't have the connection with somebody that they can talk to, definitely writing it out. I am a big component of mind dumping. So just writing out how you feel, not caring about the verbiage, not caring about if the sentence is complete or not, just getting it all out of your mind and getting those feelings out of you. So then when you are connected with somebody, you can process with somebody in a safe environment of how you feel. So yeah.
So a lot of things around mental health has a stigma to it. People don't want to admit they're having a problem.
Yeah.
What advice do you give to someone to help them feel more relaxed about reaching out for help? We know that a lot of corporate organizations have EAP, which is
Yes.
confidential.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the back of the mind, because we let our mind play tricks on us, we
Mm-hmm.
won't call because we're afraid that for some reason your name may get on a list somewhere with the company and you won't utilize the
Right.
valuable information that you can get and the resources that you have. So,
Right.
what's your advice for someone that really says, I know I need help, but I'm afraid to? And I'm afraid because it's what people may think. Or if I go to EAP at work, my job might find out.
Mm-hmm. So awesome, Crest. Awesome question. Just like you mentioned with the EAP program, it is confidential. They cannot provide your information to your supervisor. They cannot provide your information to any other person in the organization. It is only for billing purposes only. I would say definitely educating yourself of the process of like the EAP program, or having a consultation with a licensed therapist or a registered therapist in your area. A consultation is just a conversation of what is to be expected. I'm a big component of YouTube University. Like, look on YouTube,
Yeah.
and YouTube will tell you as well. You can look on YouTube as well. But just having the conversation, educating yourself of the process. And when you do that and you're still fearful of the notion or the thoughts of, is it worth it, or if somebody's going to figure it out or know about it, only person who knows about it is if you disclose that. Mental health, professional mental health therapy is to help you, just like you go to the doctor and talk to your physician if you had a common cold, just like you go to the dentist if your tooth was hurting. That's the same concept when it comes to mental health. You're literally just talking to a professional to process, and so you're not alone. I make sure I educate my kids, because my kids they have that mindset, well, my friends are going to find out or think I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, you're not crazy. Everybody has some type of mental health concern. And I don't like to call it an issue, because I mean, it's not really an issue. It's just we all have some form of a concern when it comes to our thought process. And that's why I put the cognitive distortion in the book, to make sure you understand that it's a distorted thought process. So if you
Right.
don't know it's distorted and you don't have that resource, how can you fix it? And so that's why professionals like myself went to school, because we want to help, and we can't help if we don't know you need the help. So that's how I see it.
Awesome. Awesome. So it's kind of like the HIPAA
Yes.
with medical. Okay.
Yes.
So it's covered
Yes.
under something like that.
Yes. Absolutely.
Next question. What advice would you give to someone that is outside of the family that sees an issue? And the reason I brought this up is because recently, all over the news, there was a young man that killed four people at school, the school shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And they have now made a precedent where they convicted his mother because she didn't feel like he was having a problem, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a gun in the house. And even though he kind of asked for help in different ways, she didn't remove that gun. So they're holding her responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But we're in denial with our children because we never want to say our children
Needs
was
help.
engaging. And
Yeah.
that's help or anything. I mean, even when my kids were small, and my mother, may she rest in heaven, if you told my mother that my children did something, my mother go, no, not my grandchildren. And she would come and tell me, I was like, he probably did it. And she would go, how can you say that? And I looked at her one day and I just laughed. And I
Yeah.
said, do you know how much stuff I did when I was a kid that you didn't know I did?
You didn't know.
Because everybody thought I was really good at getting two shoes. I was just good at getting away with it. But
Mm-hmm.
now, if you see this from the outside, so I'm in school
Mm-hmm.
and I got a friend, he's always talking about, I want to kill somebody, I want to do this. We don't go back and tell anybody, we don't tell our parents, we're afraid. How can a child or a young adult handle, or what options do they have to try to get help for someone without really getting involved, so to speak?
Yeah. Awesome question. Awesome question. I will definitely say, if you have someone that you're concerned about, and they are mentioning like they want to kill somebody or they want to hurt themselves, definitely we have in Florida, we have 988. And so that's the a hotline, and it provides resources for you to provide to that individual. Definitely making sure you check in with them consistently, because you may be that only person that they're safe to talk to. And
Right.
so you may not be able to direct them to someone at this very moment because they may not feel comfortable, but you can
Mm.
educate yourself. And if you educate yourself, you then educate the person who is dealing with the mental concerns that they may have. And once they feel that they're comfortable and have the confidence, then want to talk to a professional, because during that time you will encourage them to talk to a professional, then once they do so, then you done your part. You done your due diligence of connecting that bridge for that person, but also just educating yourself, educating the person. Don't give up, because people need help, and
That's
some
right.
people just don't know how to get it. Just like you mentioned before, people have that stigmatism behind mental health, thinking that they're crazy, but they're not. It's a lot to go with that, and I appreciate platforms like this to talk about mental health, so we can break down the stigma that everybody, even a therapist, need a therapist. Like, let's be real.
Awesome. Oh, that's true. That's true. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good point.
yeah, even a therapist need a therapist. We all go through something, and it circles back to, even with the network, that sisterhood. Just because we may not be sisters in blood, but we love each other, and I you want to see me strive, and I want to see you strive. So that's how you deal with your family or your friends. You want the best for them, so that means providing them the education that they need, or the resources that they need, so they can get the help that they need. And that's all that we really ask for.
Good. That was good advice. Good advice. Well taken.
Mhm.
My last question. So you're speaking. We know that I don't know who Gen X, Gen G, something like that. I'm a boomer. I'm a proud baby boomer. Okay, but what advice would you give to a young person, let's say coming out of high school or in starting to go to college, and they kind of want to go into mental health? They're not sure if they want to go into mental health. What advice would you give them?
I would definitely give the advice of connecting with your school counselor to make sure that you have full picture of what it looks like, even though you may not have hands-on training, because you will have to go through the prerequisite classes, but have a conversation with them. If you feel like you like a population, then go visit that population. If that population is the elderly, then go to find in your area, in your city, therapists, and intern with them. Do not wait. Do not wait. Do not wait until you are a junior or a senior in college. Honestly, that was one of my mistakes. I waited to later down the line to do interns, but if you do it ahead of time, you get a full picture. One thing to circle back around with my little brother, when I was in college, a sophomore and a junior, I was a sports trainer. And so that's why I fell in love with it all over again,
Okay.
seeing at a collegiate level with players. And I had the courses of mental health. So I collided those two together. So that's why my love for mental health is with professional athletes, because I had that experience and the exposure around it. So don't wait until you are close to graduation to do your internship. Do your internship. Do your internship while you're in high school, so you can see. In Tampa,
Oh,
we have a clinic called Baycare, or we have Grace Point. Those are two of the main ones that we have. But going there to do volunteer hours, being having the opportunity to just meet a clinic. You can literally call us, look us up online, ask us to come in. We have a conversation with you. If you feel comfortable and the person vibe wells with you, they can potentially be your mentor, but you never know until you ask.
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's good because I never knew that young people would have those kind of avenues out there, particularly at the high school level.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
so sometimes by the time you're a junior or senior, some people actually know what it is they want to do.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
absolutely, that was great advice. Great
Yes.
advice. So again, you are watching Her Talks 2024 of the Herpreneur Network. This is a network of Christian women in business and ministry. If you are interested in joining this group, by all means do so. We've given you the link so that you can join us. It is https theherpreneurnetwork.com/join her so that you can get more information on this amazing, amazing network. It can help you in so many ways. You can see we have Lakeisha, who out of college started her business, and in the last year, she's come up with her own LLC. She has an ebook out. She's collaborated internally with other members of the network. So it is vitally important that if you don't join this network, at least join a Christian network that can help you stay grounded in what it is that you do. Now,
Yes.
my last question to you, Lakeisha, is going to be what would be your advice to anyone wanting to get into mental health and those that know they need to seek help and are afraid to?
Okay. So, for the individuals that are looking to get into mental health, definitely pray about it because you definitely have to be strong and mentally, but also have the heart, the love to want to help people. I definitely been in this field for about 6 years now. So I have seen the best and I have seen the worst of people when it comes to it. And it does take an effect on a therapist vicariously because you love your clients, you want the best for people, you just love people. So make sure that you pray about it first. Make sure that you're fully educated about it first before you just dive in. Get the education. And it's not just the education, the book knowledge, because that's going to come, but the experience. That's why I highly recommend you doing internships hours before you even get to your dissertation or your graduation, before you even get to your junior year, your freshman or sophomore year, when you're picking your classes. Do those internship hours then so you can see and you can have an idea of what your day to day will be like.
Awesome.
Okay. For those who are seeking for help, educate yourself on the therapist that you would want. Educate yourself by doing a consultation with people that's in your area. Never be afraid to ask for help because we as humankind are here to help each other. We're here to love each other. You are not alone. We definitely want you to get those things that you need. And even if you are afraid, let's talk about that. Let's talk about why you're afraid. Let's talk about and figure out a plan that will help you. And from you have specialists from every area of your mental health, from anxiety to depression to eating. So just finding a therapist that you feel comfortable with, and everybody's different. Everybody knows what they want and or need in a therapist. So if you have to go through 2 or 3 different therapists until you find that person that is comfortable for you, whether it's online or in person, find what you need because at the end of the day, therapy is for you, not for the person that's sitting in the other chair.
Awesome. Awesome. That was very, very good advice. So, again, what I'm going to say to everyone is thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to my very special guest. Again, if you're interested in joining the Herpreneur Network, it is https theherpreneurnetwork.com/join her. And if you are interested in speaking at any of our events or becoming a vendor, there is a jot form that you can fill out. It is https jotform.com. There's a number behind it. I think it's 240-225-5179. There you go. 77690. Hit that jot form. If you are interested in speaking in Houston, on the cruise, or in Dubai, hit that jot form so that you can join us and be a part of that show. You can also send an email to speakers at the herpreneurnetwork.com. We will get back to you with information. Again, my name is Dr. Angela House. I am a certified master coach. If you are looking for help with your business, my website is https created to win coaching.com. If you are looking to become a public speaker, it is https the Speakers House Incubator. If you're interested again in being able to become one of the speakers at our network, it is speakers at theherpreneurnetwork.com. I am going to say thank you for joining us tonight. It has been my pleasure. Lakeisha, you have been an awesome guest, and I will see everyone next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. It's been my pleasure. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good
Bye bye.
night.
Good night.